the buggy.
Now, how many times have we seen that into the new buggy so far? Can you count?
I think 30.
Let's look at.
No, only 2. Yes.
The new buggy. Yeah, you mean the gagooing down into the new buggy? And here's gagooing down into the new buggy. Well, let's see if that continues. Where am I right now?
Okay, right at
Which reader?
reader 2.
The family turned up a new trail with Wags bouncing along beside them. He was desperately trying to get them interested in a game of stick. What's a game of stick?
Like when they throw the stick and then the dog has to go. Yes, like it's kind of like it's fetch, just like a different name. Like they throw the stick and then the dog has to go grab it.
What makes you say that? Why did you think of that? How did you know that?
Because
What did you see that made you say that?
because like a game of stick, it kind of like gave me a clue. Like maybe like he wanted like to play with them. So maybe he's like, as a game of stick, they probably would play with them, and then instead of doing like talking baby talk to the baby, like, wait, you used to have it on. I used to have it. Oh yes.
So do you play a game of stick with your dog? So what do you call it? It's a different name. Well, let's keep going. Let's see if he got them interested in a game of stick. Do you think he's going to be able to get them interested?
No.
What do you think they're going to be doing instead?
They're probably
Gagooing? Let's see. I'm at reader 4. You ready? But they didn't notice Wags or his stick. They were still too busy talking baby talk and gooing into the new buggy. Off to one side of the trail, Wags noticed a pile of fresh, green grass clippings. What do you think he's going to do?
roll around in them.
Your face looks confused. Grass clippings. What do you think they are?
Maybe somebody mows along and then there's like these big, maybe there's like a little pile of the grass that it came out of, and maybe it's all in good.
See, that would make sense. A pile of fresh green grass clippings. You're doing what Ayla said, you just mowed the lawn. Would you have some pieces of grass that were sitting in a pile, maybe? What is the word clipping?
Some nails or something.
What happens when you clip your nails?
They get shorter.
What happens to the pieces that...
They just fall off. They fall off.
Could you put them in a pile?
Yes.
You would call those your nail clipping theory. So I think Ayla's right. Grass clippings would be pieces of grass that you cut off the top when you make it shorter. And Wags apparently noticed them, and rolling in these piles was one of Wags' favorite pastimes. That is, when he had a chance. You see, usually his family didn't approve of Wags rolling in anything. But today they seem to be very busy with the new baby. Just keeps taking their attention.
He's the first one.
Why would that be different? Like a first one versus a second one.
Yeah. Because when my baby, because I had a baby brother and a baby sister, they had some attention. I was kind of annoyed because they were getting all the attention, but I was still getting that attention because I was the first like baby, and so sometimes I was when I was the first baby, I was getting all the attention because I was the first baby.
So you were feeling like who in this story?
The baby.
You were feeling like the
No,
baby?
well, sometimes. No, the dog, because my baby brother is
So you were used to being the only baby,
Yeah.
just like what in the story?
Get the dog.
You're saying the dog and you're saying the baby.
No, because the baby. They probably got the dog first. Yeah, they got the dog. And then he's probably got all the attention. And then the baby came, and they probably started paying more attention to the baby instead of the dog.
So in your opinion, when Lauren was the only baby, who in the stories was she feeling? The dog. And then what happened when her little baby brother and sister were born?
She didn't really get much attention anymore.
Who is that similar to? So I can see where you were thinking like, but I was a baby, so I wasn't like the dog. But you're thinking, what are you thinking now? Is you're thinking change? You were saying that you didn't like it when your little baby brother and sister were born, right? What are we seeing in here? How is that similar to what we're seeing?
The dog, he's not used to it.
How do you spell astronaut?
So what I hear you saying is like, Lauren felt, can I use the word jealous? Lauren felt jealous when her baby brother and sister were born. Just like in the story,
When the dog was trying to get all the attention
because he was
jealous of the newborn baby. And also like Julie's world.
and what?
And also the Julie's baby
Oh, tell me about Julius. That's another story we just read, isn't it? So in Julius, Baby of the World,
She was jealous of
what was her name? She had the
Julius.
plastic purse.
Lily.
Lily was
Jealous.
of
Her new cousin. No, her brother. No, Julius was the baby, and Lily was the sister.
And so, who was acting like, who was similar to Wags or Lauren?
Lily.
Sounds like there's a lot of jealousy that happens when new babies come along. Let's see if it turns out. Wait a minute. Do you love your brother and sister now?
Yeah.
There was a little hesitation there. Most days?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes they get annoying.
The most, but you love them, right?
Yeah.
And in Julius, Baby of the World, did Lily come to love Julius?
Yes.
So what do we think, knowing those two things, what do we think might happen by the end of this theater?
Wag might like the newborn baby, or he might not get as jealous.
So we might not like him too much, but he might be a little less jealous. Do you agree? Yeah? All right. Should we finish?
Yeah.
Okay. Where were we?
I think on number 4.
Reader 4? Somebody at the top. Oh, yes, up at the top. Wags took advantage of this rare opportunity. Remember, and because we've been talking, I forgot what happened. He was excited to roll in the grass, wasn't he? Yep. He rolled and rolled and wiggled and rolled until he was quite green and his nose was full of grass clippings. Wags let out a huge sneeze. Achoo! But the family didn't hear his sneeze or notice his new color. They were too busy talking baby talk and gagooing into the new buggy. Wags chased a squirrel through burr bushes and up a tree.
Wait, they let him get off the leash.
I think they did.
They don't really say
They didn't say
that.
They didn't say that. That's something we had to infer.
It's kind of
Because I think way back here,
and they didn't.
right here it says Wags was excited when they reached the park full of walking trails where he knew he would let them off the leash. So I think we have to assume for the rest of the story here,
He's off the leash.
That was good thinking. I hadn't thought about that.
They didn't. They showed it out. They didn't. They showed it. There's a bunch of show nuts.
makes you say that?
It's kind of just boring when they say, because I
just
used
say
one
that.
of them, she was crying in tears, and I didn't say
Blast
that she was
off.
sad. I said she was crying usually when your friends are sad.
Yeah.
Zero.
So I hear you saying they use show not tell somewhere here. You said that.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
I jumped
Because a show not tell is like when they are showing something and they're not telling it. So like if somebody said, but this would be like a telling. The girl was very, very angry.
That would be telling. You
Yeah,
got it.
that would be telling. But maybe showing could be like the girl's face was red from anger.
It is a really good show. And that's very different. That's very, red as a tomato. Those are very different. What did you see in here that reminded you of that?
It's like
You're talking about here?
Brad was excited when they reached the part.
Oh, I know. We had watched Branson Prices this week a couple times.
They were wait.
Where he
Where he knew they would let him off the leash, and so that he knew like an idea, and maybe they would let him off the leash instead of just keeping him on, because I don't think a dog could do all that stuff if they had the leash on.
Or it could be really
So you're saying the author made us, and I think what we're talking about here is an inference. The author didn't say specifically, we let Wags off the leash.
Yeah.
But they gave us a clue when Wag said, I bet they're going to let me off the leash. He gave us a clue. The author gave us a clue. And that's called an inference. All right, do you want to keep reading? You want to see what happens in the end?
Yeah.
All right, I'm right here. The burrs stuck in his ears in funny directions, but his family didn't notice his ears. Wags and his family followed the trail back towards the new subdivision. Terrific, thought Wags.
Now they put the leash back on him.
Oh, maybe. That could be it. He loved the smell of freshly turned red clay they built houses on. Freshly turned. I'm sorry, I read that incorrectly. Let me go back. That didn't make sense. He loved the smell of freshly turned red clay they built houses on. Through the new subdivision, Wags ran until his paws were heavy with great globs of red clay. But his family didn't notice his heavy feet. Wags found a great muddy red puddle to bathe in. He waded in up to his neck and wallowed in the water until he was quite refreshed.
That's a bath.
It's a bath.
Yeah.
Yes, a muddy red puddle. Oh boy.
Wait, is that clay?
It's clay, red clay. Do you think he's gonna come out all clean? Wait.
No, he's gonna have he's like a Christmas dog with green
Yeah.
and red.
The green clippings and the red clay. Oh gosh.
He's gonna be so messy.
But guess what? His family didn't even notice his bath. Out of the puddle, Wags ran, spraying red mud in all directions. He galloped up to the top of a huge topsoil pile and looked down at his family.
Wait, does he know that he's getting all dirty?
What do you think?
He's just trying to get all the attention. So that's what he does.
He does. I think he said something earlier. He said something when he was rolling in the apples, the rotting apples. He said maybe if he smelled really good, the family would notice him. So he's just doing anything that he can.
To get the attention.
Probably like you did when your brother and sister were born.
Oh my gosh.
I bet you did. But guess what his family was doing?